What's up, guys? Let's talk about Maud. I think right now Maud is by far the best champion in the game for PvP that you have never even thought about using and haven't built. And Plarium kind of mistakenly made her frustratingly hard to get. I hope they will change it, even retroactively when I already got her. But you can exchange fragments for her from using the previous fusion fragments of champions that you missed or didn't complete. I literally skipped Shuek and Eostrid fragment fusions in order to get Maud, and Eostrid was a very good one, so I almost regretted going for this. But now that I've been using Maud for a while, I totally don't regret getting her, and she's insanely good. And today we're gonna talk about how to build her and why you should go out of your way to get this insanely hard champion. And she kind of goes a little bit under the radar because, you know, like I said, she's so hard to get that nobody's really getting her and giving her a chance, and you're not hearing other people using her or talking about her or making videos about her. So I'm gonna make as many more videos as I can and spread the word. But before we look at her skills or talk about the build, let's do maybe 1 or 2 battles with her, and I'll show you in practice what she's useful for. Actually, I'm pretty sure I used her in my last live arena battles too. Yeah, okay, so you can see I'm actually using her a lot. I'm not even, you know, I'm not hyping this up for video. I actually think Maud is insanely good. One of the best champions for live arena. I know, somebody's gonna disagree with me, but hear me out. The reason why she is so good, and we'll get more to her skills later, is that she counters many of the most popular meta champions. And there just isn't any other champion that can do what she can. And as you can see, I'm battling like insanely hard teams here. We're seeing stuff like Galatir and Marius and these kind of super scary champions, Mikage, and she actually counters all of those champions and does really well. But let's see if we can find one battle to maybe... Do we have any Galatir? Oh, that's a Galatir team, okay. Let's give this a go. I think Galatir is a prime example. Many, or maybe most people in the game would consider Galatir literally the best champion. I think that's probably pretty unanimous. I think probably like vast majority of arena players in the game agree that by far Galatir is the best champion in the game. Even better than Grixia, and Grixia, you know, is insanely good too. But the difference between Galatir, actually we're gonna change the team, we're not gonna run this team, but the difference between Galatir and Grixia is that Galatir lockout is a debuff. Now he does do other debuffs too, like he does the stun and decrease resistance and so on. But sometimes the debuff form of the lockout can almost be even better than the normal form, because there's a lot of mythic champions going on right now, and you might be able to just switch to the other form and then use your abilities, or maybe you have a champion that can reset the cooldowns and this kind of stuff, like maybe Angora A1 or some other champion, maybe Grixia. There's many of those going around right now, but Galatir is gonna put a block buff debuff on you, so it's a little bit different and sometimes even better. And obviously what Maud does have, among other things, and we'll get to it, is that every time she takes a turn, she's gonna remove 1 buff from your team. But okay, let's how should I tackle this team? I don't know if should we go with Rotos or should we pull out the Rooster? I think we could go either way on this one. Should I actually... I'm not sure if I can if I can actually beat him with the Rooster, but I almost could give it a shot, honestly. Should be do it. Okay, I'm not guaranteeing a win here. I think if I went this battle with Rotos, I would most certainly win. With Rooster, he's super good, but he does have Mariska, so it's kind of shaky and basically a triple reviver. But as you can see, it kind of looks like my team has no chance and he has, you know, hundreds of millions of times better champions. So let's see if we can do this with Maud. This is just a random example. This is not like super like beforehand thought composition. I'm more trying to, you know, showcase the Maud here, so win or lose, we'll take it. But okay, so he switched in the form, he buff stripped everybody, he kind of got lucky and removed the stone skin from 2 of our champions. And as you can see, we got block active skills debuff on us. I think we're gonna open with buff strip instead of A2. Yeah, let's just open with the buff strip. So yeah, our Nuker and Maud and the others 2 could have been locked out. Basically our entire team was supposed to be locked out there, including our reviver, so it's not like you can cleanse the debuff from Galatir. And like I said, Galatir is literally the best champion in the game. And boom, Maud went first in our team. Her passive removed the all of the one debuff from every champion on our team. So if you have tons of debuffs, it's not gonna remove everything, but it's on every turn. And even if she's locked out, she's gonna do it, so it's very consistent. Now, she does have some other abilities too. If that was all you needed, then basically Doom Priest might see some use, but Maud actually does other useful things. So on her A2, she heals everybody in the team, and it's also a buff strip. But it's one of those buff strips, like the new version of buff strip, that it reduces the duration of enemy buffs, and it doesn't remove the buffs directly, so you can get polymorph from this skill. And in this meta, there are so many defensive abilities going on, you know, stuff like Alas is doing like unkillable, and you have lots of strength and shield and all sorts of buffs. Being able to cleanse them or buff strip them or whatever, it's insanely good in practice, both in live arena and classic arena, and this doesn't have any downside, so you can get polymorphed. Now, we already did the Wukong A3 and kind of removed the stone skin from our base and tons of other buffs, but if we didn't do that, right now we basically removed the lockout from our entire team, we unlocked out ourselves, and you don't even need resistance to do this, and now we would remove all of the buffs from the enemy team and make sure that we can actually hit them through the taunt and stone skin that our base put out. And now we can just, you know, now we can go on our Nuker and have a field day. We'll see how well I can actually finish this, but you get my point. This is insanely, you know, good in practice. There literally isn't any other champion that can do this. And I don't know if we get to showcase it in this battle, but on top of those things, like her passive and her A2, she also does have a revive on her A3, so I think that is kind of what seals the deal. If she didn't also have a revive, it would be kind of hard to justify using her, but considering that she's... okay, we get to showcase it, nice. Considering that she's also a reviver, and not only does she have a revive, but her revive is actually good. I guess we get to showcase it. I thought we might not be able to, but she revives at 50% HP and turn meter. This is kind of normal, but it's better than average. It could be way worse. You definitely want to revive your champions with turn meter. If this was like 100% HP and 50% turn meter, it would suck. It's way better to revive with some turn meter, because otherwise you're just gonna die instantly and never gonna get a turn. But on top of that, she kind of has a very unique and interesting revive. Basically, it gives you either attack or defense buff for the champions that are revived, and basically whichever you need. If your attack is higher than defense, then it gives you attack buff, and outside of that it gives you defense buff. So basically everybody gets defense buff except attack scaling nukers. It's a very good revive, and she can't use it if nobody is dead, and as you can see, we didn't give defense buffs to the entire team, so it's not, you know, it's not that insane. It doesn't completely, you know, shatter the world, but considering with her other abilities and her having like an above average revive, it's actually a very good utility to have. But let's see if we actually... He has insanely tanky team with, you know, the triple reviver and Siegfried scaring us, and he's doing the immunity buff, so we might not be able to land the decreased defense. Can we actually finish him with the rooster or not? I should have just gone with Rotos in this showcase, because there's no doubt that I would have killed this one with Rotos. It might have maybe taken a little bit time, but not even really, because we can remove the stone skin and taunt from our base, so we could totally do this team, even though he has couple Force Affinity champions. But as you can see, you know, often if you were to fight a Galatir team, you would get locked out and you would never be able to use your skills, and you would never be able to do anything in the battle until you already lost. But right now we're basically not impaired by the lockout from Galatir at all, and we're living our best life and trying to kill him with the rooster. Now we have 2 debuffs, so it could remove either one of them. Yeah, okay. And we kind of got unlucky there, and it removed the decreased defense, so that can sometimes be an issue. But you could consider, you know, building your mod very fast and taking as much turns as possible. Okay, that's fine. We don't need to get the win. If I went with Rotos, I know I would have won, and he had like a tanky team, so it was kind of risky to go with Galleos without defense buff, but you get my point. Normally you would never have a chance against team like that, you know. Getting that kind of team is gonna cost you like, I don't know, probably like 50,000 euros or something like that. And, or, you know, even if he just had Galatir and not the other mythic champions, you would have insanely hard time against that. But with Maud, it actually gives you a chance. So let's take a closer look at Maud now that we saw her in practice. And actually let me pull it up from the Hail Hades website, so you can get a little bit better visuals on the build. But I think the most important thing about Maud is that you definitely still want to have her in stone skin for PvP. And how can I put myself that I'm not in the way? Okay, this is good. You don't need to see the stats on the side, you kind of know already. So you want her to be in 6-piece stone skin. Now in that battle we kind of got unlucky and they removed the stone skin from everybody at the start, but that's a 50-50 chance, and you definitely still want to build her in that, even if enemy has buff strip. I would go with that, and then you also need to build some accuracy. Now, Maud is kind of new to me, I still don't, you know, have a blessing on her, but even with 1-star blessing, if you're gonna build accuracy for her A2, which is a buff strip, you definitely can use polymorph even without 6-star blessing. Right now I have like 450 accuracy, as you can see, but you could go a little bit lower than that. I don't think you need that high, but I would say that try to aim for like 350 plus, or let's say 400 accuracy. Then you would be pretty consistent with your buff strips, and especially if you happen to be lucky and get 5-star blessing on her, getting that amount would not be hard at all. But basically the most important things on her build would be that she's the fastest champion in your team, and the second thing would be that you want her to be in stone skin. Now, as you can see in my build, I'm even using a 5-star attack amulet just to have her in 6-piece stone skin and 2-piece perception, and a 5-star like HP ring. So losing some stats for those things is totally worth it. Ideally, I would have her as tanky as possible too, but the speed is a big priority, and you want her to be faster than your nukers. That's the most important thing, that ideally she would be the first champion in your team to go, but at least faster than your nukers so that they don't get locked out. Outside of that, you could build her with anything else. I mean, you could build her with maybe 4-piece bolster set if you don't have stone skin, or like any of your fastest or tankiest gear that you can find. But if you have stone skin, I would definitely always go with that. 2-piece set can totally be up to you. It could be 2-piece frostbite, it could be 2-piece immortal, it could be 2-piece perception, or anything else that you can get. For me, the build, as you can see, is a little bit work in progress still. That there's a lot of room to glip her and ascend her, and I need to switch couple pieces. But I actually was running her with this build for like the last week in live arena, and it has been super good. I mean, you wouldn't believe how useful mode is, and also how often she actually gets banned by enemy teams. They actually ban my mode very often, which is kind of laughable. And I still haven't gotten the polymorph on her, so she hasn't even unlocked her final form yet. Also, quickly speaking about the skills, I kind of talked about all of the abilities in the battle, except the A1. The A1 also does attack buff and decrease attack when you attack. Like, I think it's 50% chance of placing the attack debuff, but 100% chance of placing the attack buff on your champion with the highest attack. So if you really need like a nuker that needs the attack buff, not only does she do it on the A1, but also on the A3 from the revive, and then she could do the defense buff on your supports or defense nukers situationally. But she actually does many things on her kit, and all of her abilities are useful. Like A1, attack buff and debuff, A2, buff strip and heals, and increases the duration of ally buffs, which can be very good in some situations if you have, I don't know, champions like champions that do shields or strengthen or anything like that. Those kind of buffs are very meta in live arena. Then A3 is the good revive that we were talking about, and passive removes 1 debuff every turn, even if she's locked out, and also places a 15% continuous heal on the ally with lowest HP. She even has an aura that you could use in battles if they ban your champion with speed aura or something like that. You could totally run this. Now finally, let's take a look at the blessings. I think here, I mean the masteries. I think here you have some options. I probably will actually change my masteries in a second, as soon as I get 1-star blessing on her. But as far as the defense tree goes, I would go with this build, or both of the trees, defense and support trees. I would go with this, like, you want to be as tanky as possible, and you also want to get a little bit accuracy on the side, if you can get it. The only difference that I would make here is that if you do have polymorph on your champion, you could go with fearsome presence, that increases the chance to proc it by 5%. I think this is actually very useful. You know, 5% might not seem like a lot, but if you have, like, you know, a long battle that you sustain with her passive and revive, and you get debuffed countless times, and you are gonna use her against debuff teams, then this is gonna add up, and I would go with that. But the other option is just to go with Eagle Eye and get the 50% increase accuracy. Now, would you use her in Classic Arena? I think Classic Arena meta is a little bit different, and people don't use stuff like Galatir and Marius that often in offense. Mostly in defense and not really in offense. So I don't think she's quite the meta pick for Classic Arena defense, let's say. But, you know, for Tag Team Arena, one of the best champions in the game, one of the few revivers with defense buff and a revive. And for Live Arena, I think she's literally meta right now. I know some people are gonna big time disagree with me, but I think she's meta. I think she's like on the upper echelons of Live Arena meta right now. Obviously, you know, she's kind of a defensive champion, and if you're like 460 speed and you always go first and lock the enemy out and buff strip them with Marius, you can totally do that. But if you're not in that position, she has a very unique kit, and she's the only champion that can really counter Galatir. That's my own opinion. I don't think there's any other Galatir counters in existence apart from High Matter mode. And it's not just Galatir, like I mentioned, there's many very annoying debuff champions, like Lady Mikage would be another one, that she does AoE stun on you and is continuously harassing you with her sleep on the A1. Even Sifim could do it, you know, spam you with the A1 sleep. You're gonna get block buffs, debuff from many sources, like maybe Wukong. She's gonna be reliably able to remove those things with her passive, and then you can, you know, do your thing and get your buffs up. So I think it's actually a massive deal. You could even consider building her a lot faster than mine and try to rotate the passive more. But I do think you kind of want to build her tanky, since it's not like a champion for speed teams. And I'm probably gonna try to build my mod a little bit faster too, as soon as I can get an HP ring and so on. But yeah, that's it for my mod guide. I hope I maybe convinced or changed your mind about it. I do think it's worth skipping a couple mediocre or bad fragment events to try to get her. Obviously the biggest issue with her is that it's very hard to get her, but I don't think she's gonna go out of the season anytime soon, and I think she will be useful champion for a long time. And you most certainly could run her in stuff like Hydra 2, maybe try to counter the Tearhead with her passive and so on. You can definitely find other uses for her, but the one that I'm mostly thinking about is Arena, of course, and the fact that I really hate Galatir and speed teams and debuff champions. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to get more than own those stupid Galatirs. Have a nice day and see ya.